the fact that they've taken me along with them on their journey and helping me along the way is just so, I get quite overwhelmed talking about it, because I do just feel so lucky, and I will forever ever be so grateful for that. There really is nothing like it. It's a totally special thing, a very special relationship.
I want to ask first of all where it like started with. What was your first ever live performance?
My first ever live performance, except from like wee things like wee charity gigs and stuff I done when I was like younger. My very first proper live performance was supporting Dylan John Thomas at the Priory in Glasgow. I think there was about 75 people, maybe less actually, but that was my very first time performing live, and I had never played guitar in front of anybody live before either. So I was absolutely terrified, but the buzz that I got from it was like nothing else.
And I guess when you start off well, that sort of will kick on and help you continue. What's your favourite gig that you've done to date then?
My favourite gig that I've done to date is definitely the shipping forecast in Liverpool. It was supporting my good pal Dylan John Thomas again, and I wasn't expecting anything from it, because obviously I had no music released. I had just had a couple of songs that I had wrote in my room with Dylan. Nobody had heard anything, and my family were coming down for that gig, and I warned them before it. I says, right, nobody's going to be in when I'm on. Like, this is going to be empty, just like a pre-warning, but obviously I'll still play my heart out and I'll play to yous, and it'll be fine. And I stepped out on stage and the room was like full to the brim, and everybody was shouting on me, and I was like, how do these people know me? And the crowd they were brilliant. They were, obviously they didn't know my songs, but some of them that I think had a few drinks were trying to sing along at least. And all my covers, everybody was like hitting the roof, like just going off their heads, and it was just so surreal that this amount of people knew who I was and wanted to like sing along with me and like have a wee party with me. So
That's ace. And I was gonna get, if I'd had to take a guess, I would have said somewhere in Glasgow. That's very interesting that the best gigs so far has come outside of Glasgow in Liverpool.
Yeah, King Tut's with Dylan John Thomas again. That's definitely up there, definitely. But I just think, because I was expecting not so little from the English gigs, but I just thought I'd have no kind of fan base down there. So the surprise that I got when I walked out was it was very surreal. But King Tut's, that's a special place. I think that's the top on maybe everybody's list at some point.
That's the answer that you get from people that aren't from Glasgow is, oh, my best gig was in Glasgow. It was at King Tut's.
Yeah.
Dylan John Thomas, that's a name that's come up a few times already. He's a bit of a mystery to me. What can you tell me about him when he's not on the stage?
When he's not on the stage, he is still just with his guitar constantly. Maybe every now and again in lockdown he's on the PS4 playing Warzone, but he's always in his trackies, guitar in hand and singing. So that's Dylan to a T.
That's cool. It seems you hear the sort of stories a lot in Glasgow, especially the people that have performed at the Priory, where they've sort of, the network's really tight, and like you've done a few things with Dylan, and Dylan's done loads of things with Gerry Cinnamon, obviously. How good is it to have that sort of support network and know that you can count on someone to sort of help you out, and then you get gigs off the back of it as well?
Oh, it's so special. It's so special. I don't think there's actually a word for how grateful I am to have those people around me and to have helped me get to where I am, get to just be ready to kind of go. And it's like a second, it is like a second family. when you're all together and everything's like going well and you're seeing how well the other person's doing, you feel so much pride, and it's not even pride, you feel like you're doing it yourself because you're just so happy for them. And the fact that they've taken me along with them on their journey and helping me along the way is just so, I get quite overwhelmed talking about it because I do just feel so lucky, and I will forever ever be so grateful for that. There really is nothing like it. It's a totally special thing, a very special relationship.
And also knowing that someone that is like, like Gerry selling out, he can sell it anywhere he wants now. He could just sell it anything he ever wanted to now, I think.
Easy.
And they, just the fact that they're showing that sport, not only is it helpful for you to have that sport, but it's also got to be like pretty cool to think that someone that's doing that well obviously sees something in me if they're willing to give me the support and give me this chance.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's actually, I don't think it sinks in sometimes, that someone of that kind of, I guess, stature, you could say, is seeing the potential in me. It's so lovely, and it's just, I'm just so grateful. I'm really, really grateful, and it definitely helps, like, just keeps me reminded that I have to keep going and just to believe in myself, because obviously these people that have, well, Gerry, he's built an empire. He's an absolute, well, I definitely call him a legend, and I think the fact that he has saw potential in me is just so amazing. It's so special, and again, it is very, very surreal.
And you supported, am I right in thinking you went on his last tour, Gerry's last tour, with Dylan, and you did songs
Yeah,
together, is that right?
yeah, I joined Dylan for Jackson.
And that must have been pretty. There's another man, Gerry and Dylan, I guess, both sort of keep themselves to themselves. They don't do a whole lot of media stuff, so you don't really know a lot about them other than what they're like on the stage. But you still get the vibe that once the gig's finished and you're back in the dressing room afterwards or the after party, that they've got a good time in them.
Oh, they definitely do. They have a brilliant time in them. I think it's a lot more tame than people think it would be. But they're brilliant company. Gerry and Dylan, they're two of the best guys I've ever met. They're so funny, they're so down to earth, and they've just get the best. I was going to say banter, but that word makes me cringe. They've just get like, they're just great nature. They're two good souls, you could say.
And did you do Dylan's gigs with Liam Gallagher, the ones you did in Scotland as well? That's
I
right.
did.
And did you get a chance to meet Liam?
I did not, but I met Bonehead, and
cool.
that was amazing. That was so cool. I was in the dressing room and he came in, and I was like, okay, keep calm. And I said to him, I put my hand out, I was like, hi, I'm Rianne. And he was like, oh, I know who you are. And when he said that, I honestly could have just dropped to the floor. It was crazy.
I love Bonehead, and I think he sort of is quite into his new music as well. So I think he would have. Yeah, that's interesting that he'd be the one that would take the time and come in and meet us in that, because I had the feeling that he sort of like was into his new music and stuff. So that sort of backs it up. That's interesting.
It supports a lot of new up and coming bands and stuff like that. It's brilliant.
I was actually at the Aberdeen gig for that tour, and yeah, and seeing, I didn't think he would come that, when it said like he was doing a few of the gigs, Bonehead, I was thinking, well, there's no way he's coming as far north as Aberdeen, not a chance. Why would you bother if you've got all these gigs to go to? Why are you coming up to Aberdeen? Not a chance. And then he was there. I was like, yes, great. I was like, so he stepped out for the first Oasis cover. I loved that. Seeing people like Gerry and Dylan, and there's a whole load of them I could list off, solo artists coming out of Scotland just now and making a real name for themselves. Lewis Capaldi's another one I'm thinking of. That's got to be a huge boost when you're coming up to your debut single that we'll talk about in a lot of detail in a minute. But yeah, just having the sort of seeing that people are doing it, coming out as solo singers from Scotland, making a name for themselves, making it not just in Scotland but across the UK. It's like it's obviously a good time to be doing exactly what you're way to do.
I think I have timed it very well. But it is a total boost with seeing everybody that's coming out of Scotland, and it's like people just for a wee scheme like me. It's not like this like big thing that's happened overnight. They've like worked for it and they've built something amazing out of it. And I feel like Scotland is very, even though we can be quite harsh and we're this and we're that, we're very, like, I guess you could say family orientated, and we're very territorial in the sense that we'll look after our own. And I feel like I'm I've got like a good support system of all the Scottish folk behind me, and they're all like kind of pushing me to keep going. And I guess with people like Gerry and then newer artists like Dylan and like the Snuts as well, and Lewis Capaldi and the kind of pop scene, seeing them do it makes you realise that it is possible. And I think that's helped a lot with the audience within Scotland, because I think in Scotland we can be quite negative, like, oh, that'll never happen, like just go and get your 9 to 5, like don't bother. But now I think everybody's minds is kind of opening up, and it's like, hold on, like we're actually good at something here, we can do something here.